the Grey Hat Beard podcast. Hello and welcome to Grey Hat Beard Show 40 Part 2. If you haven't listened to Part 1, we talked about all the latest news with loads of UC goodness because we were joined this week by Mark and Randy. If you did listen to Part 1, you'll know that Al wasn't there, but we had Gary. Unfortunately, Gary's had to drop off, so it is just the grey of Grey Hat Beard. No hats. We do have a beard with Randy's filling up the beard. Mark, you might have to find a hat somewhere just to keep the memento going. So in this part 2, we're going to be talking about Commsverse and specifically really about Teams devices. So I'll be honest with Teams. To me, a Teams device to a large degree is a headset you plug in and use. And Randy is going to teach me otherwise about all the other great things. And I do know a little bit more than that, but teach you all the benefits about the different things that you can plug in with Teams. Because I know lots of people kind of come from the SharePoint collaboration world. Teams is just something that you can quickly and easily call things from. But there's a lot more to it that I think, especially when it comes to meeting devices and personal devices, which can help there. But first, Mark, I think you're going to talk a little bit about what Commsverse is and what we can see there, especially when it comes to Teams devices and all the other great stuff that's going to be happening.
Yeah, so Commsverse, if nobody knows what it is, it's a Microsoft Teams community conference. So unlike other conferences out there who might have a bit of a wider focus in the 365 space and Azure, we focus completely on Microsoft Teams, nothing else. Our USP is that we try and get the best grassroots content that we can find from experts around the world, such as Kevin and Randy and a few other community MVPs and other contributors as well. We try and get them all into one space to come and share their knowledge with those who are really invested in Teams. So we have several tracks that cover collaboration, cover devices, cover Teams voice and everything in between, apps, automation, the whole thing. And I think, Kevin, you're speaking as well, aren't you? But we also have, I think we're up to 42 sponsors now on the exhibition floor with a few virtual ones as well. So I think our total count's about 47 in total sponsors. We have all the device manufacturers there, apart from the latest one that got onto the ecosystem recently. So they'll be bringing their meeting rooms, some new players on the block as well. So both professionals to call them out. They're breaking into the Teams space with their VB1 product. They'll be there showing that off. So if you're into Teams meeting devices and rooms and you want to understand what options they have, we have Poly, Yealink, Shure. Not to try and single everybody out, I can't remember. I'll reel them off. Yeah. We have basically anybody who's anybody in the Teams space is exhibiting. So we have a vendor who can help you with your Teams project, no matter what it is.
And I know we were chatting on Teams, on Twitter at the weekend. For me, this is one of the things I'm looking forward to about going back to a face-to-face conference in person. I know you can register and it is virtual, but it has felt like I haven't gone into a lot of the sponsor content at some of these events on the online ones, and I want to see real kit. I want to see the physical thing. It just isn't
get to touch it
the same.
Get actually put your finger on it after it's been sanitized. Of course, you can.
And sanitize afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. But I think being able to see that kit, that chance to wander around and kind of go, oh, that looks interesting, and things to catch your attention. I will be honest, it's one of the things I always love about conferences. I know Chris Johnson, who does the Microsoft Cloud Show, he always says he loves to get just that feel for the floor, see what kind of common topics being talked about with the sponsors. And that is one of the things I'm really looking forward to. I know lots of people kind of go, oh, the sponsors, they're just there to give money. I genuinely don't believe that. I think it's where the interesting stuff is a lot of the time.
They're part of the community as well, aren't they? So without them, Teams wouldn't be as big as it is and have as big a reach as it does have. So without them, they're a critical part of the whole ecosystem community. So people shouldn't look at them as sort of like badge scanners and email spammers and all that type of stuff. You go to an event, whether it's free or paid for, you're treated well. You're fed, you're watered in most cases. You're treated to some of the best content that's available. why shouldn't they have a chance to put their case towards you, whether that's face to face or otherwise? I think people just need to realize that putting these events on takes an awful lot of work, an awful lot of money. Ultimately, sponsors don't do it just for the fun of it, so they're there to share their stories as well to anybody who wants to listen. If you're not interested in it, you don't have to stop by their stand, but hopefully you were there for more than just one reason, for free, not for a free pen, but for other reasons as well, and you get your own value out of it. That's it. Yes. So sponsors are looking forward to it because it's the first time they get out to demo their kit in a 3-dimensional world, or 4-dimensional world rather.
And it makes a difference. It really
does. It does. You can watch a PowerPoint presentation. You can see a PNG picture. It doesn't replace seeing it in the flesh and being able to look around it and get a feel of the dimensions of it and how it fits together, and talking to somebody who can demo it in front of your eyes, that makes a real difference. And online conferences are great for content. They're not so great for networking and those sort of spontaneous one-to-ones that you have, because you can't replicate what they call them, the water cooler moments.
Absolutely, yeah.
Online.
And it means you can meet those people, whether it's sponsors or others, and you see that name come up again. You're like, so-and-so was there. Yeah, I can check with them, see what they think about that. It gives you that sort of relationship building, which is great. Yeah,
even if you stop by an exhibitor stand and you're not quite ready to talk to them for, about a project, it gives you that insight to say, actually, do you know what? Yeah, there is something there, and you might not think about it for 2 or 3, 6 months afterwards. Have a conversation, and you think, actually, do you know what? I remember that from Commsverse or wherever it might be. That sponsor had the solution for it. I'll go and what was his name? Oh, that was his name. I'll go and chat to him about it. So, sponsors come to these types of events not for the quick sale. We know it's a long sale. It's about relationship building, and it's about awareness. So, people should just embrace that. And it's part of the conference experience. It's why you get up to go.
Absolutely. And so some people are going to be going there and thinking, we were talking in part 1 about, Randy, you mentioned that a lot of offices are going to be more collaboration spaces, and rather than just banks of desks, it's about going there and having devices. And I think a lot of organizations are probably getting head deep in, right, come on, let's change our office. Let's kit this stuff out. What sort of things should people be looking at in terms of devices to help with that, or to help from home?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's different categories. So if you think about a personal device, that could be from a fixed space. Obviously, you need a webcam of some description, and you need a headset or a speaker puck. If you're not a headset or speaker puck type of person, you can also get a Teams phone. So there's Teams certified phones. They're on Android and a Teams app. You can also get a new style kind of category of a USB phone. So if you remember the old what was it?
Is that just a normal phone that happens to plug in via USB?
Yeah, so Yealink have got one. It's the MP50. It's the same kind of chassis, if you like, of the MP54, which is a Teams phone. But this is just a USB device with a touch screen. It's got tactile keys and all that kind of stuff. But effectively, you just plug it in, and it becomes a headset, but with a curly cord and a handset on it.
So you can slam the phone down.
So you can slam the phone down and have that satisfying moment. We've also got the kind of controls on it.
CX300, wasn't it?
The CX300 was the old one, yeah, the kind of curly cord from Polycom back in the day. Yeah, very, very good, very popular device. And it's just plugged into your laptop, so it just becomes an audio device. So you can kind of go from one end of the extreme or the other.
You mentioned pucks there, which are effectively like a speaker or microphone in one. Why would people have that? Because obviously most people at home now are on laptops. They've got a microphone and they've got a speaker within there. What's kind of the benefit of having that separate device?
Yeah. Never ever use the speaker and microphone.
And I just want to be clear. I'm being devil's advocate there, so I agree.
Yeah. And it's not because I'm paid to kind of sell certified devices or anything. It's just it is going to be really terrible. The mic on your laptop just isn't designed for that. I mean, arguably something like the iPhone and some of the Android phones and stuff like that, the mic pickup on those is actually pretty good. if you were going to use it to do a movie or a kind of a podcast type of thing, or an out and about kind of walk in the forest and talk about something, that kind of stuff, that is good. But you want to represent yourself in the best way possible on a Teams call or in a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting or anybody else. But effectively you want to put your best foot forward in all cases. So to use a device that is as certified as possible, but ideally certified, means that it's been tested by humans and is known to give good kind of quality when it comes to that. Whether it's a headset, a headset is very subjective. You either want that overhead and mess up your hair kind of thing. You've got ones that are convertible and go over just one ear, for instance. This one here just kind of clips on over my ear. And it means that, I'm not sweating so much having kind of being enveloped in the whole headset thing. But then you've got speaker pucks, which is another way to have that kind of freedom of movement when you're on calls. If you've got a good speaker puck that has very good kind of pickup, mic pickup, it means you can kind of move around your space a little bit and still be heard. But then sometimes the speakers in them are also powerful enough to use, not just for the Teams calls and meetings and stuff, but also for multimedia. So if you want to watch that YouTube video, catch up on a podcast, for instance, or just watch a movie in your downtime or something. Some of these speaker pucks these days have such good speaker quality that it's almost cinematic in its use. So
the Jabra 710s you compare together in stereo. So
yep.
If you have two 710s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're quite expensive, so to have two is quite a luxury.
The Sync 40 can do stereo as well.
Yeah.
I believe you can kind of daisy chain together. Yeah.
And are they generally designed to help with things like reducing feedback? Because one of the things that drives me mad often with people doing it from their laptop is the amount of feedback you get from it. Do the pucks generally work better at removing that?
What, like a feedback loop type of thing?
Yeah, so you end up hearing your own voice back when people are on because the speaker from the laptop gets picked up by the microphone.
That isn't working well. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When you've got devices from multiple vendors, then you could actually get that kind of feedback side of things. But basically, you're relying on the DSP built into your laptop or into Teams or into kind of both, really. But the speaker puck actually has a DSP built into it, so that you could be picked up, but also then you hear the far end, and you don't have that kind of crosstalk, if you like. And then, thanks to the clever plugs at Microsoft building on all this AI-based noise reduction and stuff as well. So you think about speaker puck, you think it's going to pick up all the ambient noise around you.
Dogs kids running around,
dogs and sirens outside, mailmans and wheelie bin men and all that kind of stuff. Well, the AI stuff that's built into them, and also some of the technology in the pucks themselves, and also headsets, actually do active noise canceling. So, and there's one, like the P15 I've got up here. You can actually set the microphone pickup and the noise block to pick you up at different distances. So if you're close to the thing and you only want to be picked up in a specific bubble, but then as soon as you move outside of that bubble, you'll basically fall off into the distance, or actually it will just ignore you completely because it's just using some sort of sound guard to kind of pick you up, which is quite good.
Speaker pucks are versatile, so they're not just a personal device. So if you go to the office now and then, and you have a small room, maybe four or five chairs, and you just pile into a room for an ad hoc meeting, you can spin your laptop up, plug your puck in, and you can have 4 people in that room into a meeting, and you have a fully certified, almost Teams room on, in your pocket sort of thing. So they'll do those types of situations as well. So it's more multi-party as well as a single person device. I'm a big fan of pucks.
Yeah, I mean, I've got pucks from all the different brands, and some of them have sort of directional mics all the way around them. Some of them have just a single mic kind of built into the top. And there's pucks for personal spaces, sort of small, medium, large. There's pucks for the collaboration space, but also just big meeting rooms. You can get pucks that are the size of a dinner plate.
Really?
that will do the whole
buttons,
thing.
yes.
Yeah. It's an amazing array of technology that's building into these things now. And even, like the Sync 20 from Poly has got a mobile phone charger. It's like a battery brick as well. So you charge it up, and you can actually use it to charge your phone when you're out if you plug it in. Bluetooth and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, the sound quality that comes out of it is really amazing. So yeah, the vendors are really kind of thinking about that. And then, you've obviously got meeting room devices as well as the other extreme. So you think about, there's two categories of meeting.
What more when it comes to meeting room? Obviously, you've got the pucks, so that will give you the audio side. Are the meeting room devices? Is that because you want to have the visual side of things as well, or is there?
Yeah, it's total AV and immersion and that kind of thing. So on one end of the extreme, you've got what they call the BYOD type space. So you need something to plug your laptop into that then plugs into the screen at the front of the room.
Just in case BYOD, bring your own device.
Bring your own device.
Bring
your own meeting.
Not the other one.
Yeah.
Not bring your own drinks. Yeah.
Yeah, you can bring your own drinks.
That's my kind of meeting.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you want to rock up and join a Teams meeting from your laptop, as Mark says, and plug into the device on the table, that's fine. But if you also want to have, an immersive experience with a top quality webcam at the front of the room, and then also plug into the screen at the front of the room to share that content, not just people huddling around your laptop, you can actually show it in the front of the room. But then also use all that same technology to bring, people from remote, sort of far afield in there, that hybrid space, or, what they're calling the buzzword hybrid, but, effectively it's just remote participants, isn't it? And then at the other end, you've got
workplace pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
Then at the other end, you've got full Microsoft Teams rooms, which is actually,
remind me to come back to that about a hybrid. I've got an argument there, but I'll let you carry on.
Then you got the Microsoft Teams room, which is compute, some audio, which could be, a puck. It could be, table mics, ceiling mics, combination of both. It could be a sound bar at the front of the room, any and all of the above. And then, webcams either from static kind of 4K all the way up through to speaker group framing, that kind of tracking technology, and everything in between. So you can really kit out pretty much any space. But it's not just the AV side. You can also plug in your laptop via HDMI, USB-C, and share the content directly into not just the room and the front of the room display, but also the Teams meeting itself for the further far afield. Wired wirelessly and all of that kind of thing. So there's really devices for every type of space, whether it's from the personal side to BYOD to full. You rock up, you invite the room, and there's a join button waiting for you when you get there.
And you talked about kind of ceiling mics and things like that. What's the benefit? Is it just to kind of help isolate people? To stop the people when they're trying to have three different conversations in the same room and focus on there? What is it? Just audio quality, really? You're looking at?
Yeah, the best audio quality is always going to be a mic closest to the people that have mouths. Sort of table mics are always going to be the best choice in my opinion. Then you go to the kind of AV soundbar, which can either, kind of be in the front of the room. Some of them have, amazing pickup. Some of them are, 8.5 meter pickup from just a bar at the front of the room, which is, it sounds incredible, but it actually does work. And then
a bar in the front of the room that has the mic in as well.
Yep, has the speakers, the mic, and either one or two cameras that do auto tracking and all that kind of stuff into them. So rather than having that mic on the table, you've got it all at the front of the room, and it's all contained up there. And it means you've got, all your cable runs are kind of localized up there, apart from the touchscreen on the table, which is your kind of meeting control stage, your join button, that kind of thing, mute, call controls, that kind of stuff. But then you've got other options, so why would you want to go for ceiling audio versus, more table audio and stuff? Well, some of the ceiling audio can be quite expensive for what it is. However, you're talking about kind of 10 meter pickup from one ceiling mic. But also, so if I use Shure as an example, they've got, and Sennheiser have a ceiling tile mic as well. They have what are called steerable lobes, which effectively means they've got mics that live all the way around the periphery of this ceiling tile, and it replaces the actual, ceiling tile, from the drop ceiling, or hangs down from it. And you can actually use it to actually steer and pan, tilt, and zoom a camera. if you think about the
So based
mics
on where it's
around
picking
the
up the
outside,
noise.
it's going, I know Mark is over there because he's being picked up most by that mic. So it's going to actually steer the camera toward Mark because he knows Mark is speaking based on the direction of the actual
with
speaker.
these-
And on speaking, if you don't mind, I'm going to disappear now and leave you guys to it.
We'll let you chop off, but yeah, we'll carry on for a few more minutes. But thank you very much today for joining us, Mark.
No worries, appreciate it.
Enjoy your dinner.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. But so in terms of those, if you've got multi mics, do they then have the intelligence to know that one person's speaking and if there's two people having a side chat, will it automatically trying to reduce their noise or not so much?
I mean, there are technologies built in so that it automatically mutes the mic if it doesn't pick up, human speech. So, for instance, if you're just clacking on your keyboard or moving a bag of sweets or eating your crisps,
someone sit there clicking a pen as I
clicking a pen, that kind of stuff, it will automatically mute all that and take it all out. But you can actually tune and train these things to do a lot more. The other reason why you want to go for ceiling audio is if your furniture isn't in a location that is fixed. So, for instance, a training room where you got multiple desks, it's very hard to kind of figure out where to put a table mic, or a mic on the floor or something when you're just going to pick up shuffle feet and stuff. So ceiling audio, whether it's a golf ball mic hanging down, whether it's a ceiling tile, whether it's, a combination of those. Also, ceiling speakers kind of come into that as well. You might have a sound bar at the front of the room that doesn't have a mic, or sound bars around the room that doesn't have mics, or you can have, go for the whole ceiling audio experience. So you can have ceiling speakers that do the whole thing. And again, it's about total
investment bank level funds at this point. But
no, not necessarily. We've got customers of all sizes that pick up, these. I mean, yes, the really high end ceiling audio is a lot more than you would pay for, some mics on the table. But there's a deliberate choice for doing that. And sometimes, meeting spaces aren't just about, you bringing your own employees in there to meet about something specific. I'm not going to look up and go, oh, that's where my pay rise went. It's also about showing off your company to customers, to partners, to vendors and things like that. So, sometimes you have to splash the cash, I guess, to, you might have a mahogany inlay rainforest endangered table, with ivory built into it, or whatever you want to splash the money on, go for it. But if you're going to spend some money, spend it on your audio and your video as well. Then the Teams room itself is just, as I said, it's compute and it's a touch screen that does all the meeting controls and stuff. So those are the two common components. But cameras range from very, very simple right through to, as you said, literally watching you pace up and down a stage and tracking the speaker as they walk through space. So think about the education space. Think about, conferences. Think about if you're doing a hybrid conference and you want to actually follow, whoever it is you've got speaking about, M365 or something, pacing up and down for that virtual audience. It's that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's nice. So I come back to the hybrid. I think for me, I think you're right. There's a certain element where it's having remote people, but I think one of the big things that's going to change with hybrid is also people have been at home. They're used to having that side conversation in the chat bar. They used to be able to access the content on their laptops or even on their phones. And I think one big thing about hybrid is going to be that change. It's people are going to be even more used to being able to work on their devices and want to join in the meeting and interact in that way as well. So that was really interesting hearing that kind of isolating and removing the sound of noise, tapping and things like that. Are you seeing much else in terms of that hybrid and bringing multiple devices into the same meeting room, or still learning there?
Hybrid is it's a big buzzword, and it's really about making sure that you can create a meeting space that is not only for the people in the room but also for the people that are working from home in other countries. It could be, but again, it could be remote participants, and they're not really necessarily a hybrid. You're going to meet with them. They're either going to come to your office or they're going to meet online, and that's kind of what we've been doing for the last 18 months as the world got sent home and stuff. But now, as users are returning back to the office, they don't have a desk anymore because offices are kind of shrinking in terms of that real estate, and they're creating more meeting spaces. They want to make sure that they can maximize that space, still have social distancing where they need it, but then also, make sure that, people that are there are as productive as possible, but then bring in people remotely. You talk about side chats. There's nothing stopping you joining the same meeting on your laptop in the space and actually, participating in the chat or moderating the chat or something like that. And that will be for those people that maybe don't want to be, speaking out loud. We've all been to meetings where you'll have people that won't ask a question. They'll just ask it in chat.
And having that ability, if everyone's there physically, fantastic. You can put sticky notes up on the board, get ideas from everyone. With your hybrids, you want that ability for everyone still to be able to do that, whether they're there in person or not, and being able to put those, or even voting on decisions and things that we
you think about the meeting polls is there now. Q&A is coming relatively soon. I think it was in the last announcement, wasn't it? But then there's other hybrid technologies. I mean, the Magic Whiteboard is another one that springs to mind. I did a video, it's probably going on 2.5 years ago when it first got launched, and it was my cheesy grin in this 34-second video I put on Twitter, and suddenly I had 75,000 views and, I don't know, 3,000 likes or something like that in the space of a very short space of time. I was finding friends that, I'd long forgotten about that started following me on social because they got sent it in a Slack message, and, that's how viral this thing went. The technology of Magic Whiteboard, effectively, if I describe it, is you plug in a secondary camera into your Microsoft Teams room, and this technology is going to come to the Teams desktop client as well now, as I think it was announced in in the roadmap things recently.
Just trying to remember where that was announced, or whether that was something I shouldn't, but I think that has been publicly announced.
Yeah, I think it was. Now. It wasn't in one of the Teams blogs. It was actually it's in the roadmap. That's in the roadmap, the public roadmap. Yeah. So effectively, you've got a whiteboard, like a dry erase board or a flip chart or something like that, or even just this, stick on the wall kind of
piece of paper. Sticky sticky note things.
Whatever on the wall in your meeting room. Call it an analog whiteboard because it's not digital. You can obviously spend thousands on a digital canvas or a Surface Hub or something like that. But what about the lowly dry erase marker kind of whiteboard kind of stuff?
I have two to my right now.
I've got one behind me. I bought it specifically to test out the feature, but also it helps with teaching at home and doing maths with my daughter and stuff. But so you point this secondary camera near the whiteboard, and effectively you switch to what they call the content camera, and it uses some AI to go, right, okay, where are the borders of this whiteboard? It will outline it, and it will zoom in. It will get rid of all the noise. When I call the noise is, any artifacts from, somebody using the wrong pen. It could be a sticker or some sort of label. It could be the brand logo or something of it, anything like that. And it focuses on the actual dry erase marker content. But not only that, it will actually make would
that work with paper as well? I'm just thinking
it does
sort of have all those YouTube videos of sketched things on paper. Presumably,
you could. A flip chart will work as well. It just focuses on that stuff. But the other clever thing about it is that it also makes the person that's drawing translucent.
Yeah.
So as long as the camera can see the pen markings of whether it's a dry erase marker, flip chart on paper, or something like that, it will render it and it will put it into the actual, kind of canvas, if you like, for people to see. If you step in front of it, they can still see that content through you. And then if you're drawing, kind of blocking the whole camera, as soon as you move out of the way, it goes, there's some more lines. I'm going to render
kind of
those.
Remembers, doesn't it?
It remembers and puts them back on there. Yeah. But quite clever technology when you think about, not everybody has that kind of whiteboard space or an interactive whiteboard, or even just using your Surface with a pen. And, the Teams whiteboard is an amazing bit of tech. It's just gotten better and better and better over the years. Absolutely. And, all the sticky notes and stuff that you can add to it. And there's other stuff that I'm sure you've probably seen that neither of us can talk about because of NDAs, but there's even more stuff coming to it. And it's just amazing stuff. But the lowly whiteboard, the dry erase whiteboard is not gone away. It's back. And it's back in a big way. So
it's a shame Gary's had to drop off, because that's one of the things we found it slightly strange that only the kind of meeting room Teams Room capabilities to do that magic whiteboard, when actually if you've got Teams Room, you've probably got a very nice virtual whiteboard versus the people at home who'd love to just do it off a normal webcam. Really happy to see that on
I'm
the
actually looking forward to that, because there are some times where I need to ideate and kind of draw and do a diagram or something of a Teams thing or something.
There is something different about standing up and doing it. Lovely as the surface is. There's something about getting up and moving around.
I've got Surface Laptop 3. It's on an arm that's kind of sticking out from the wall, so it'd be kind of awkward. You'd see the kind of side of my shoulder. Be trying to draw, or I could take
not the
off.
pretty side. Yeah, exactly.
So and even if I'm sitting there drawing, you're just looking at my forehead while I'm drawing. It's not great unless I switch to the camera on there, and then you're looking at my nostrils. So none of it's very flattering. But if you switch to the magic whiteboard, then it's brilliant.
Move around that. No, looking forward to that. One last question. So I've had a ThinkSmart, a Lenovo ThinkSmart View here for a while, and one of the reasons I got it was because I want to kind of offload from my device the weight of Teams, and I've seen kind of mixed reaction, mostly because it you talk about that up the nose angle, it's exactly that angle for it, which started to wind me up after a while. There was too many chins on that camera, which I didn't like. But the other thing that did get me using it again was they put Cortana on it, and for a little while I managed to get the habit of using that. Are you seeing many people doing that kind of voice recognition, that Cortana style, or other Alexa? Sorry if I'm triggering anyone's things.
The Cortana on the ThinkSmart View, I'll start there. It's a new category of device. I say new, it's been around for a little while now, maybe 9 months, a year, something like that. It's called the Teams display. So I think about the Teams phone. It's Android, and it's a Teams app that runs on a phone. It's no rocket science there. But then the Teams display effectively it's a phone, but it's also video. But also you can get at your chat, you can get at your files, you can open up a PowerPoint. You can also just quickly glance at something, that side chat, something like that. And tap it, and if you've got it set up as a companion device for your Teams desktop client, using that better together over Bluetooth kind of experience, what you can do is you can long tap on the reply button, and it will pop up a little message and say either reply from here, use the on-screen keyboard at an awkward angle, because it's a fixed kind of almost completely vertical display. Sorry, Lenovo, but it is. Or you can say reply from desktop, and it will open up that message as a popped out chat, and allow you to reply there and then from your desktop, where you've got a keyboard and mouse and emojis and you're formatting text and all that kind of stuff, which is really good. And then I guess it's probably not even a couple of months now, probably maybe 2 or 3 months, that they brought Cortana out onto the device. So not only can you just ask normal sort of silly questions, but you could say join my next meeting, you could say call Bob, you can say open a document. There's not.
I mean, I've found it great for remind me it's 4 o'clock to do this, which is I do a lot with Siri, but to have it in Cortana means it's all in the corporate network, and it will go into my Outlook and things, and even send a quick message to someone when I'm kind of in the middle of things or typing things away. I can just say send a message so and so doing this. I found it really useful to that. I just wondered if people are starting using it in the meeting space at all, if you see much interaction there.
Cortana is actually coming to some of the Microsoft Teams rooms. It depends on the speakers that you've got. So there's this new brand of intelligent speaker. It's like a puck, but it's like a proper puck with AI and a brain and stuff built into it.
Okay.
So EPOS, the kind of corporate brand of Sennheiser, and Yealink have got these AI devices that were Project Rockfall. And effectively, one of the cool things besides Cortana that you can do is so you can go into M365 and do effectively do a speech kind of thing. So you can say, right, I'm Kevin McDonald, and effectively it records and remembers what you sound like, stores that securely in M365. And then when you go into this meeting room with one of these AI devices, it will actually say, I know who's speaking. That's Kevin McDonald. I know his voice because he stored it earlier. And it will actually, in this transcription and captioning stuff, it will do the transcription, but it will attribute your name because it knows who you are.
So
out
we
of
have like the
10 or 20 people.
transcription
Yeah.
in meetings when everyone joins in their own devices, and because it
Yep.
knows where the things are coming from. You get the same thing in a hybrid meeting too.
Yeah, but if you think about a meeting room, it's got 10, 20 more people,
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, you're all speaking one at a time. And unless you know physically
Occasionally.
who everybody is,
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
But also for accessibility, if you want to know that it was Kevin that said that, or be able to go back and search, it knows because you stored your voice and your kind of speech print in there. So, Cortana, I think it's in the US now only, and only on certain speaker devices or something. But it will be more widely available, I think, and then you've got, other technology. I think it was in the roadmap with the room remote. They've been talking about this for a while. So not having the room remote. So effectively using your kind of mobile as a companion device for the room to do things like mute, unmute, volume, that kind of stuff. That will come along at some point soon, I think, as well.
It's all about these integrated devices into the rooms and
But so there's all that. Cortana, I think, is definitely good for. There's all kinds of things it's good for. As you said, just asking it to do a quick task is one, but
it feels like one of those things that there's a great use case, just getting the habit. And I found this, that I go in and out of using the habit. I find that same with my other devices that I won't say because it would trigger things off here, that sometimes it works well and you've built in the habit. Getting me to remind things, or doing it for cooking and setting timers there. I have a habit built of that, and I find that the corporate space, I certainly haven't built up the habit, and I think many other people haven't as well. And if there's ways to help that, I think
it's a strange thing though, because Cortana is built into Windows anyway. You just have to go through go through a thing and kind of train it, tell it what devices to use, and whatever else. But I think I tried it once, and I just got kind of sidetracked.
Exactly. You lose the habit, and I think I tried to do it because if I'm home, you're not interrupting every people, in a nice quiet office going, Cortana, do this, and blah, 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 which just winds people up.
But the great thing about having that dedicated device, there's nothing to set up. Once you sign in, it's enabled. I think you have to enable it or something, but once it's enabled, it's enabled. You don't have to train it and do some stuff with it, or it's just there. And I guess it would probably encourage more people to do that. So so as a personal device, Cortana built into that is great. As it comes into meeting spaces, think about in a meeting room, and I'm guessing at kind of use cases for this, but you're in a meeting room, you got 10 people in there, and you say, hey Cortana, can you set up a meeting with
start the meeting,
everybody in
so
here
and so
on Thursday next week as a follow-up, or send somebody the device, the document on, could be anything.
Set your actions and things like that.
So if Microsoft is listed, have that Cortana actually do some additional, be that AI assistant, that digital assistant in your meeting spaces. You got the kit.
I know there are some things being talked about that, and I have to be careful at this point, but I think it feels like there's space there for things to improve on. But anyway, I'm going to let you go because it's getting very late here, but that has excited me, I'll be honest, about coming to see some of the devices and things like that. I've been toying with the idea of a puck, so we'll certainly be on the eye out. I think when it comes to Commsverse,
at Commsverse you'll see all the device vendors. I mean, I could name all the brands, sort of Yealink, Crestron, Poly, Jabra, Shure, Bose, Audio Codes, Ribbon, sort of everybody that's anybody in the kind of devices space will have.
They're all going to be there to be fantastic. And I think it's fair to say there's a fair bit of swag and competition prizes, isn't there?
We've actually got a storage full of loads and loads of tech. I remember when Mark sent me the bill and from Amazon or whatever. The amount of stuff that he bought, because it's think about all the sessions. Each session will have a giveaway that's been sponsored effectively by one of the exhibitors. So I think the idea was to have, the sponsor that's responsible for that laptop or that headset or that speaker puck or whatever it might be, actually come up at the end and say, right, okay,
he's a winner.
I'm from company XYZ. Here's your device. Enjoy it.
So if you're toying between going virtual or attending, and I know there are many reasons where people are still nervous about attending face to face, but if you're on the on the edge, come and win some devices. That'll be there face to face. So
yeah,
well worth making sure you're there.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have lots of fidget spinners and pop sockets and stuff like that. But come with a real device, Xboxes, PlayStations, laptops, anything and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, so double reasons. Come for the content, go home, keep the kids happy as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Sounds good. Oh, my voice is going as well. But yeah, thank you very much for that tonight. We seem to have gradually lost people as we've gone on the way. So Mark's off having dinner. But thank you for sticking around, Randy.
No, thanks for having us.
And I look forward to seeing you properly face to face in September.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone else, for listening. I'll put some details in the show notes of some of those things, and certainly a link to Commsverse for you to register. So make sure you jump on there. Otherwise, I think we'll be taking a 2-week break as we've kind of got to holidays. We may put sneaker recording in if we can, but maybe a little bit longer between shows. Otherwise, thank you very much. This has been Grey Hat Beard. Do give us a like, give us a subscribe, and make sure you sign up for Commsverse. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to Grey Hat Beard Podcast. The song Drink Up My Mateys was brought to you by Black Bones under a non-commercial attribution license.